Okay, jumping into it immediately, right in top 10 most powerful Dokkan players of all time. I didn't drop a April Fool's video, so I guess we're doing it now. In number 10, right here, I have Kaioken Iron Cane. If you guys didn't read the manga, the way Iron Cane, or at least Kaioken Iron Cane, Enraged Iron Cane, whatever you want to call this form, the reason he scales so highly here is because he's going toe to toe with what I would argue, even though it is, he's not really going toe to toe. He's really beating a modern The Truth DT, and The Truth essentially has to talk down to him to get like an ego over him, if you know what I mean. He has to pretend like he didn't understand what Iron Cane meant and to make all these videos siphoning views off of Iron Cane's fame. We know how it is. Truth milk the whole situation. He knows how powerful Kaioken and raging Iron Cane is. It should be a no-brainer that he makes the number 10 over some other people that you won't see on here. Number 9, we have myself, actually. I'm currently locked away in the hyperbolic time chamber, college. Uh, but definitely, I think Iron Cane, myself, I think I'm definitely more powerful as a Dokkan player. I think skill wise, I think his fame, he takes the cake, but I'm definitely just a more skilled Dokkan player, and that's why I make it onto here. But once I'm no longer locked away, Iron King, I mean, he hasn't even hit his prime yet. And, once he hits his prime, like some of the other people we have on here, I think he'll definitely be up there. And I'll just have to see if I do eventually even get a prime. I think Iron King will get one, but I'm not sure if I will. Very short debate for those. Number 8, we have, I'll just look. It's Buhan Iron Cane absorbed. There's a lot of debate here between. I guess I showed a bit of it between number 7, number 6, and number 8. And the reason there's a lot of debate here, we have Sloppy Resh, or I have Sloppy Resh in 6. I have Ravens fan controlled The Truth DT in 7, and then I have Buhan, or I have Boo Iron Cane absorbed in 8. And the only reason I don't have Buhan or Boo, I don't have Boo Kane much higher is because I feel like this isn't a prime Iron Cane absorbed. Like if we saw this, in a year or when the Iron Cane just fully becomes a very good Dokkan player and is just like going crazy. If we saw this at that time, then I would confidently have the Boo Iron Cane absorb Boo Kane. Basically, I would have him above these two. But I mean, if you guys read the manga, we do know that like we could say Sloppy Resh is definitely more powerful than they literally fought. And people say like, oh yeah, a Ravens fan controlled. If you guys don't know the lore, basically the lore is that after Bo Nix put BTA on Josh Allen in the playoffs, Truth gave up and let the Ravens fan control him, and Sloppy Resh had to basically take him down. But Sloppy Resh did end up losing the fight, quote unquote. And the only reason people think that Sloppy Resh is weaker is because Sloppy Resh didn't want to kill the Truth DT because he knew he was being controlled by the Ravens fans. So that's why I think that Sloppy Resh is definitely more powerful. He just didn't want to end it. He didn't want to end Truth there, and Truth was just sort of not caring anymore after saying for so long, "Oh my God, Mahomes is he's Josh Allen's kryptonite," and then he gets what should be for Josh Allen a free ticket to the Super Bowl, just a free ticket to win it actually, and he just completely sells and shits the bed. But I think that is a pretty comfortable ranking. Boo Kane, I think I mean, you could argue him a little lower, a little higher. I just really think these two, we saw a lot more from them in the manga, and I think their battle was definitely like I have Sloppy Resh above him, Sloppy Head Goresh. I mean, we're talking about a full power post global sync Goresh. Like I just don't think a lot of people won't just be able to compete with that naturally. But speaking of the people that can be above that, right here I have. If you guys can't see it, can I zoom in a bit? If you guys can't see it, I have father son collab Diddy plus Nanogenics. This is like they at one point they were like the I mean like this is like prime Diddy sauce, quote unquote. The father son collab with Nanogenics, like it just this was a peak moment when they teamed up to take down a quote, like it was already, to be fair, a fallen off the Truth DT. The Truth DT had already long since been taken down by Sedula, and already had the Dodge talks take away from his prime. But he is still, I mean, he was still a formidable threat when these two just sort of dominated Dokkan YouTube. And so I definitely think it's super impressive to me that these two were able to do what they did, especially Diddy in particular. Just, I mean, that father son collab is just way too strong. Their fight in the manga, it was pretty one sided. But obviously, I mean, you have some. It was, to be fair, I mean, you have to give them fairness. It was a fallen off to Truth DT. And we're talking about post Global Sync. The Truth wasn't heavily nerfed Global Sync, but he definitely did get some negatives because he stopped pointing out how bad takes were from global Dokkan players, which I think is a big failure on his part. Moving into number 4, we have Bam Adebayo. If you guys don't know the lore, the major battle Bam Adebayo took place in was between him and Bukane, and it was just like a I didn't want to mention it before. It was a slaughter. This is why I think Bukane is probably one of the most underrated or most overrated people, is because he really was not that powerful. He faced one opponent, Bam Adebayo, and Bam Adebayo dropped 83 on his head. It really is not that impressive what Bukane was doing. The only reason I have him so high is because he's literally Iron Cane absorbed. I guess we don't know if the enraged factor that normal enraged Iron Cane gets, but he literally just has to be above Iron Cane by or an enraged. He has to be above a typical Iron Cane by quite a bit, considering he is Boo absorbed Iron Cane. It's sort of like the Kid Boo versus Buhan debates, where it's like Kid Boo literally has to be above, or Kid Boo has to be below Buhan, because he's literally just, Buhan is just Kid Boo, but with people absorbed, so he's stronger. Like that's just how it works. But I think he's the reason I have him above these three: Sloppy Head Goresh, Father Son collab, Diddy plus Nano, Ravens fan controlled, The Truth DT. I definitely think Adebayo, like these two, they fought pretty closely, but I think Sloppy Resh is ahead. They defeated a less than prime The Truth DT, and I think they were still putting up crazy numbers around Sloppy Resh. Sloppy Resh, global sync buffs, all that type of thing as a global player. These two are also global players, so I feel like they got the similar buffs, except they were just like completely dominating. I think Goresh on the Dokkan front, just I don't think he put up as much of a performance as like we typically say, but in the manga, I think it's almost narratively implied that this is the order of how powerful these four are, and I think it's obvious that these four are all kind of close in the manga, and then Bukane is like a step down, and then like me and Enraged Iron Cane are another step down. Moving on to number 3, these are when the debates. I've been talking very shortly, very quickly. These are when the debates get very, very, very intense. We have number 3, Prime to Truth DT. Okay, let me just talk. Prime to Truth DT has to be by far the most overrated Dokkan player in terms of power that we've ever seen in this game. So to start, in the manga, he is literally like, to say that he was like, oh, he's number 1. He was number 1 for so long, the number 1 Dokkan YouTuber. He's still so crazy. Even fallen. I mean, I'm putting, Diddy plus Iron Cane father son collab on here because they beat a fallen off the Truth DT. So you'd have to be thinking Prime to Truth DT is just something insane. But I just don't think people realize that Prime to Truth DT was facing actual plumbers, actual fishermen. Like this is the Kashimo type of thing, where it's just he was facing bums. Who was there to stop him? The Masked Ningen? No Lar? Like we're talking about the Masked Ningen, no Lar, a pre-global Sync Goresh. Like this guy's truly a bum. He was beating plumbers, and so people think it's impressive because of that. And not to mention the fact, guys, do you see her anywhere on this list? No, you don't, because Sejla took him down. Sej took him down. It is so embarrassing that like that is how he exited his prime. The Sejla drama, followed by him beginning to use private servers after ragging on them, and then like the Dodge talks that he became obsessed with. Like the massive fall off is insane. Like he was number 1. It's undoubtedly he was crazy. That's why he's in my top 3. Definitely Prime to Truth DT is up there, but like No Lar, the Masked Ningen, pre-Global Sync Goresh, yeah, he was beating all of them, but all of them I don't have on here. I don't have Nolar on here. I don't have a pre-global. I don't have a pre-Global Sync Goresh on here. I don't have I mean, I guess I don't have I don't have what's his name? I don't have the Masked Ninja on here, and it's because none of them are really that crazy impressive. But I guess he was the first one to really be dropping. He's the first one to really be dropping these showcases the way he was, and I mean that just we know he was absurdly powerful. But of the people who are at the top, who dominated for so long, who are so crazy, had the best primes ever, I really don't see like it didn't take a lot to take him down, and he was not dominating like anything crazy. I feel like he was dominating something like he was dominating like a bunch of bums, in my opinion. I think Nolar pre Global Sync Goresh, like it just he was a pre Global Sync Goresh was a translation merchant. Nolar was a global bum. To mine, I'm pretty sure Nolar was a global player, and even if he wasn't dropping crazy content. So it's not like he was trying to truly compete with the True TT. So unfortunately, I just have to confidently say that the Truth DT Prime. Some people have him at one. I can't put him at one. It's just it's pretty clear to me that this like in the manga that maybe some anime only watchers might say that that oh my god look how powerful he was in his prime, but it's just like if you read the manga and you know what's going on, you know this guy did like I think you could argue Sloppy Resh as high as above this guy, above Prime to True DT, because as Sloppy Resh post Global Sync Goresh is literally like I mean he is a way more powerful than pre Global Sync Goresh, and we've only really seen pre Global Sync Goresh go up against Prime to True DT, and so I really do think that Prime to True DT is a bit overrated. That's why I have him at 3 instead of 2 or 1. Speaking of 2 or 1, we can talk about our number 2, which is Alan Dokkan Tech Ultimate Gohan Infused or Absorbed or Enhanced, whatever you want to call it. The translations from the manga aren't really that specific, but basically, We're talking about Alan Dokkan post Tech Ultimate Gohan release, pre Physical Beastless Gohan release. We're talking about in that time span when we had Tech Ultimate Gohan, when we had AGL Kid Gohan, when we had the hybrids that released on the 2021 Golden Week banners, when we had basically hybrids be like an insane, ridiculous team with Tech Ultimate Gohan heading it. As you know, Alan Dokkan was he became known even outside the Dokkan community in the general Dragon Ball community when the leakers started just putting his face or his profile picture on random shit to like when they were dissing. It's just him with Tech Ultimate Gohan as the number one hybrids glazer. I mean, it's just like there's a reason in this guy's prime, the Truth DT never argued against him. The Truth DT was never like hard against him. The Truth DT, he didn't take, and I mean, in the manga, no battles took place before between these two, between Prime to Truth DT and Alan Dokkan, and it was entirely because the Truth DT. I feel like you can see that he was just scared. He did not want to take a battle against Tech Ultimate Gohan and his fanboys, and Alan Dokkan was the number one Hybrid Sans defender and enjoyer, and I think that just like that just solidified his position. Tech Ultimate Gohan might just be the number one like unit of all time in Dokkan that people don't talk about anymore, and it's like this guy was just his number one dick rider. Like, and it's, I mean, I think it pretty much secures him this position. The fact that the Truth DT Prime wasn't wanting to take any battles against him is pretty telling. I guess we never saw any interactions with Bam Adebayo. He existed in a completely different era than him, and as well as father son collab Nano plus Diddy. It's definitely a bit difficult to compare them, but I think that we know generally that Prime to Truth DT is above them, and that Prime to Truth DT was afraid of Alan Dokkan, and Alan Dokkan with the Tech Ultimate Gohan buffs were not afraid of. They were not afraid of whatchamacallit. They were or Alan Dokkan was not afraid of Prime to Truth DT the same way Truth was afraid of him. Okay, moving on to number 1. People are gonna be, a bit upset about this. There's a bit of controversy, but number 1 is Prime Dokkan World, aka DBZ World. If you don't know, this is one of my major reasons for having Prime to Truth DT so low. Because the Truth DT, I mean, I guess he was out of his prime by the time that this happened, but you could tell there was a bit of resentment. Prime to Truth DT definitely, or I guess post Prime to Truth DT was still pretty high up there. He was slowly falling off, but he was still really high up there, still pretty like close to his prime, but it's after it. He was very afraid. You could tell, like, he did not want to interact with these two. He did not want to. And the reason he did not want to take, you could see he would like disagree a little bit when Alan Dokkan went too far, but he was never full on going against him. He would be like, oh yeah, like Alan, just that hybrid sands guy. Of course he's saying this. With Dokkan World, he was terrified. He literally resorted to, he could not take any battles against DBZ World, and instead he resorted to getting DBZ World's account on YouTube banned. That is how bad, that is how powerful DBZ World in his prime was moving. That is how insane it was. I mean, we're talking about DBZ World dropping rainbow showcases for every single unit before people were like, everybody and their mother had access to the private servers. This was him doing that. Obviously a lot of people had access to them still, but this was him dropping those videos instantly right away the second the data download hit, when like nobody had access, like not nobody, but like pretty much nobody had popular videos dropping with that happening. And it's just like, dang, that was like, this was definitely probably the top one prime ever. Obviously nowadays you have plenty of people when data downloads drop, even before data downloads drop, doing showcases on the characters. But doing this was literally like the edge that DBZ World had by being like the first like super popular private servers user was immense. Like this is like Satoru Gojo levels of the strongest, Ryomen Sukuna the strongest. This isn't like the Truth DT, like oh, I'm the strongest, Kashimo type of thing. This is more a this is more a Ryomen Sukuna, like I'm the strongest. Like he backed his shit up because he was number one. He was, nobody else had ever dominated like that. And when banners drop, the Truth DT was summoning, and nobody else was summoning for him for all the units the way Truth was. But at least Dokkan World was not summoning for anything. He was just like, before everybody would everybody summons with the second the banner come out, right? Nanogenics Prime, which isn't on here, Rhyme Style Prime, which isn't on here. I don't think they make it. Diddy collab, Diddy father son collab, Diddy plus Nano. They're dropping these videos, these collab videos, the second the banners come out, and then showcase collabs the second they got the units. Like, everyone's doing that, but this guy was dropping videos pre that, and like back then that just like was so crazy. And I think there's a reason. I mean, there's a reason the Truth DT had to get this guy banned. It was like, it's truly not it was not fair how far ahead he was. And this also led to the hypocrisy that we see nowadays with the Truth DT when it came to him using the private servers despite hating them. It definitely is very funny to see that the Truth DT, very, 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 like, he was extremely afraid of this guy. And I mean, this guy hit like I believe he hit like over 100,000 subscribers insanely quickly. So we can't even say that yeah, I'm looking. He hit like 150K on DBZ World Channel, and then after the Truth DT had to get him banned to be able to compete against him, Dokkan World came back and is now at 217K. So it's like he put up like crazy numbers insanely quickly. Can you imagine what he'd be at if he never got banned? Just kept his growth, that didn't just slow down randomly. And also, I would like to point out, I mean, if you guys don't remember, the Truth was hard, like, going against him. Then he got banned, and then he came back. The Truth was basically like, I remember he was on stream saying like, oh yeah, that's a fake, he was trying to keep DBZ World out of the game. That's how bad it was. That's how bad DBZ World was giving Truth BTA. I mean, dude, DBZ World, I mean, it's just, it was bad. Truth fell off, he fell off out of his prime. Then he had got Ravens fan controlled. I mean, I guess it happened first. The DBZ World happened, and then DBZ World ended up coming back as Dokkan World, and he didn't end up managing to stop him. And then he, Bo Nix gave Josh Allen BTA. It's just the Truth DT. It's bad looks right now. I think he needs to Mr. Positivity isn't working. I think he needs to switch up and figure something out. I think Prime the Truth DT is far past it. I think all this dick riding he's doing for Omatsu, all the dick riding he did for Omatsu prior to the producer switch, definitely did not help his case as the number one most powerful, to engage in a second prime. Like he could have had a second prime, I think, but it just hasn't happened. I think very soon we could see Iron Cane's prime. We already saw Diddy's with the father son Diddy collab. We're seeing like Goresh is not the type of person to have like a prime. The post Global Sync Goresh as a Dokkan player is obviously significantly more powerful. We saw him defeat Ravens fan controlled the Truth DT. So I mean, we're using like all these the Truth DTs as like a scale, but the Truth DT kind of gets his ass handed to him by everyone every so often. Unfortunately, I don't think he makes the number one on this list, but I mean, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Bam Adebayo is too high? Is he too low? Should he not be on here? I definitely think he's a top 10 Dokkan player of all time. I think he's very powerful. In the manga, we definitely see him narratively implied to be above the rest of the. I think this is the order that I'd say for these four right here. Boo Kane definitely just like below these four in a level of their own. And then Prime to Truth DT, I think is separated from Alan Dokkan a bit, and then DBZ World kind of just like he is like the dominant force. Like his prime was unmatched. The Truth DT had to go through a lot to try to stop him in his prime, and he definitely had to like cheese and cheat a bit, which is something we saw before with Sloppy Resh, where Sloppy Resh didn't want to go all out, and so we typically see quote unquote the Truth DT wins when the other people have like their hands tied behind their back kind of situation. So let me know what you guys think. Should I do another video? Should I go through the honorable mentions? Some people are going to be upset that we don't have Prime Nanogenics on here, but let's just be real. Prime Nanogenics, Prime Rhyme Style, all of them. Those videos were like those. Back then in the manga, Dokkan was just a significantly worse game, and so in reality, like it was not like super enjoyable. Like I don't think any of the content made back then is that good, but back then it felt good. So we'll just have to see.